Love music? How to make it sound better. Welcome back to another Techstination interview. Joining us from Helm Audio is Brand and Product Manager Chris Heille. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Fred. How's it going?
Terrific. Well, Helm Audio has been around for, I guess, about 5 years now. Give us a little background, if you can, to start with, and sort of the company's reason for being.
Sure. Helm Audio. I'll go to the reason first. So the Helm Audio kind of exists to kind of make audiophile less of a dirty word for the consumer, and to bring high quality audio at a reasonable price for consumers, for users, and was started by Eric Johnson, who is a former Navy pilot who has been kind of living and doing passion work in audio for 5 years, maybe a little bit longer, before Helm was started. But Helm exists so that we can kind of find places in the market to deliver products that we think are needed, that solve a problem for users, but also to do it high quality and at a price point that doesn't necessarily put it at kind of at an oligarch's budget.
Well said these days. So
Yeah.
for most of us, our mobile phones are where we turn to for music, I suppose. A variety of streaming services to choose from. You have some new devices on the market that can really, really help to make that music sound, I suppose we could say, the way it should. Tell us about it.
Sure. We've had a product called the Helm Audio Bolt, and I can actually hold it up here, and it actually has our USB adapter attached to it. I'll remove that so you can kind of see this a little bit better in detail. I'm not going to label it the USB-C end, but the Helm Bolt is a digital analog converter. So, there was a time when your smartphone had a headphone output, and then depending on the make and the model, you may have lost that headphone output. But the truth is that headphone output wasn't that wonderful to begin with. Most of the time, unless you're buying a premium phone product that is actually featuring a high end output, and there just aren't very many of those on the market, your headphone output traditionally has been designed for size, to be small, current draw. And then what ends up happening is with all those components kind of in a very small space, and designed to be kind of easy on the phone manufacturer's budget to keep the costs low, you end up with audio quality that's just subpar in terms of if you want to power a decent pair of headphones, not just a pair of earbuds, anything that does a little bit more full bandwidth, full frequency, full spectrum playback. You need to have something that will represent and power the headphones a little bit more properly, and the Helm Audio Bolt does that. It's a digital analog converter. So if your headphone doesn't have if your smartphone, doesn't have a headphone out, the Bolt will serve as a headphone out. It has a USB-C connector on one end that serves as the input, and then it also has a 3.5 millimeter, or in imperial language, the 1/8 inch tip ring sleeve headphone output on the other end. And what that does is it'll take a digital signal from your phone and then runs it through a very, very, very premium set of converters and gives you very high fidelity coming out. How high fidelity? Well, if we think about CD quality, CDs, basically have a sampling rate, right? Which is how many times, if we want to kind of put it in very simple parlance, audio gets, sampled, or a picture at a certain rate per second, right? And CDs were 44,100 rate, kind of snapshots, audio snapshots per second. The Bolt can do 384 kilohertz, or 384,000 snapshots per second, replaying audio or rendering audio. That all is dependent upon your source file, where you're going to stream from, or what's stored locally on your phone. There are two formats that have really, really gotten traction, especially in the last year. One format is called MQA, or Master Quality Authenticated. It's a British technology that does an analysis and a file storage on the origination end that requires hardware. So whoever's providing the content needs to run that audio file into the MQA package. Then it's put online on a server to stream. But then it requires a special authentication chip to come back so that you can render it properly at the full file resolution. They have a process that they call musical or audio origami, where they store a very high quality file in an MP3 data footprint. So very high quality audio at a very, very economic streaming package, but you need the MQA, you need the authentication chip on the back end and the proper technology to unfold it. MQA is currently available from Tidal in streaming for Western listeners. There are other packages in if you're in China or in Japan, MQA's got some different providers there. The other format that's gotten a lot of traction and got a lot of buzz, and it's actually gotten some of our videos a lot of viewing, is Apple introduced lossless audio last year. Lossless audio is available from Apple Music, and what lossless audio does is it uses Apple's what they call an AAAC format, which is basically FLAC, which for those who are in the know, FLAC is a lossless audio streaming or data packet, and AAAC is just Apple's branding of FLAC. But Apple Music made AAAC files available from Apple Music. However, it's not available, or you won't be able to render it in full quality without a DAC. And so the Bolt serves very well with iOS products, or with, if you're using a Mac, you're able to actually render those files that you're going to get from Apple. And I think the highest quality I've seen on their servers, and I'm not an expert at it chasing it down, but I think the highest thing I've seen has been somewhere around like the 192 kilohertz. But you need a DAC to be able to render those files properly, and you need to listen then on wired headphones. Bluetooth won't cut it when you're talking about lossless audio, just because data packets are too big, the bandwidth is too large, so you need to go with a wired solution. But the Bolt works marvelously well with Apple Music. We have a video up via helmaudio.com in our support page for the Bolt, but we also have something if you want to look up. If you just looked up Helm Audio Bolt Apple Music on YouTube, you'll find a very well watched video there. It just explains the process on how to do it. It's very exciting stuff. If you've never heard MQA, or you've never listened to lossless audio in Apple Music, you really should give it a try. I am still working in audio engineering and music production, on a fairly regular basis. The first time I listened to MQA, I was stunned. To be honest, I was a little nervous, because I could tell you what I was listening to. I was listening to Tori Kelly, and I was listening to Coffee on the record, which was released 2 years ago, I think. And listening to it in MQA, I was absolutely terrified. It made me go back and go, okay, I'm going to need to make sure that my engineering, my music production stuff is really dialed up, because you aren't going to be able to hide anything in these lossless formats. And lossless audio and Apple Music, very, very, very similar experience. Now, the thing about lossless audio is you might find a format that is, or you might find content that's 16-bit 44.1. So that we're talking about that sampling resolution. That's CD standard. That'd be listening to a CD via Apple Music, that quality. That's still an improvement over traditional what Apple uses, which is a codec called AAC. I don't want to get too technical, but basically it's better than MP3, but you're still dealing with data compression on your audio. And that's really what a lot of these, that's definitely what DACs are pushing against, or not. We're really trying to deliver better quality in that convenience package that users and listeners are accustomed to now. The wonderful thing about having the smartphone is that you carry your computer in your pocket. It's got everything there. The problem is that in order to adopt that package, we we really took a hit on our quality in terms of content in regards to, you know, how full bandwidth that comes. And you know, it's just kind of like, if you look at it like, remember the first time you saw a 4K television and how stunning that resolution was? Sorry if my dog might get excited here.
It's the age of Zoom. Dogs are allowed.
Yeah, for real. Hopefully he doesn't want to go chase a squirrel out there. He gets kind of excited. Apologize about that in advance. But the first time you saw 4K television, it was kind of a quality that you could not believe with your eyes, right? You're so used to either you saw standard, and when we saw 1080, we was like, no, that's an improvement. And you saw 4K, you're like, I can see the hair on that cheetah as he's going for the, you know, go for the antelope. When you listen to lossless audio or listen to MQA and you listen to these higher formats, and by the way, Amazon Music they've got an HD package that allows for streaming that's not either of those formats. It's FLAC, sometimes it's downloadable WAV files. When you're listening to that stuff for the first time, you're kind of stunned by all the things that you kind of passed by before. Even if you're listening to lossless audio that's 16-bit 44.1, it's still like a revelation that there are things here that I didn't notice before. The stereo field is better, imaging in terms of what you're listening to, positioning in the mix feels more submersive. And you know, the crazy thing is that Apple's going even further, working with like Dolby Atmos, and they've got their spatial audio packages that they're doing there. And if you really want to experience that, you're going to need to have a DAC in order to do it. And you know, the Bolt is a portable, mobile way. It's a solution that works really well, and it sounds phenomenal. It
does. It really has a wow factor, as you were saying. Tell us about pricing.
So pricing on the Bolt is pretty reasonable. I'm just going to double check because we're doing some things right now that are, we've got some products coming out later this year that are going to drive some things around a little bit, but I just want to make sure I don't give somebody the wrong. So yeah, currently the Bolt lists at $119 US. Currently, if you were going to grab that, it's going to be $109.99. And it's so that's a reasonable price for our closest competition in this market generally tends to be north of $200. So it's a competitively priced product.
Terrific. And then you have something that you call the DB12, and this can be used. They can be used separately or together. These units. Tell me about it.
Yeah. So this is the DB12 Amp, and I'll hold it up here, and you can see it's about the size of your key fob for your car.
And this has a built-in battery that needs charging, but we should mention that the Bolt is powered by your device. You don't need to charge it.
Thank you. So. Yes, correct. So the DB12 is a mobile headphone amplifier, and it's actually pretty stunning for what it does. It's a completely analog device in terms of none of the signal actually hits that passes through the device. Nothing that goes to the listener actually hits a digital circuit at all. So this is not a DAC. This is not going to convert MQA or lossless or FLAC files. This is an analog device, so you need a headphone output, and then it's going to run through the DB12. What the DB12 does is actually pretty stunning, though. The DB12 uses technology, AAA technology from THX. AAA is kind of a crazy deal. It uses in layman's context, it uses feed forward technology to basically analyze the input and then make corrections on the back end. Because every amplifier circuit, for the most part, they're always feedback loops, which means they keep kind of recycling the signal back through and amplifying each stage. What ends up happening in a traditional feedback circuit is that it does add distortion along the way. No matter how good the amplifier is, every stage is going to basically create a little bit of distortion. With feed-forward technology, what it works a little bit differently in that it analyzes that input signal and makes calculations on what that distortion is going to be on the output. And it's able to make the corrections in the internal stages so that what happens at the back end is very, very clean. It's actually extremely efficient. What THX has done is taken that technology that usually sat in a bigger package and put it in something something that we could use in the size of a key fob. The DB12 actually boosts audio by 12 decibels when you turn the switch on. It is extremely clean power, and I can't emphasize that enough. Most of your headphone circuits, especially in your phones, are going to be kind of trashy in terms of what they can do at the output, and they tend to be at the end of their extreme, right? So when you're really have that thing turned up, and this is true kind of for a lot of headphone circuits on more consumer audio or even prosumer products, it gets to the end of its tolerances and it kind of tends to get a little bit more lossy, a little more distorted, and not even just, you might not be able to hear distortion, but you'll get crosstalk between the channels, you'll get crosstalk between the cycles of the wave. The DB12 amp does amplification really, really cleanly, and it is amazingly loud. So if you have a headphone circuit on a phone or on some other, on your laptop, some other, device, you can run your headphone output more in a range where it runs efficiently without creating distortion, and put the DB12 in line after it, and it is stunning what you're able to hear in terms of the DB12 works so cleanly that the soundstage actually kind of feels like it expands. It's very weird, but it's like by eliminating some of that crosstalk distortion, your stereo image cleans up. You're able to, have more transient power for peaks and that kind of content. It just, everything runs more efficiently. And one of the things we talk about with the DB12 is a lot of people have headphones that they can't use, or they haven't been able to use for a while because they're either power hungry, their resistance is really high, and a laptop output, certainly a phone output, audio output just can't handle it, what those headphones need. The DB12 kind of puts those headphones back in your daily driver circle, but it'll make you kind of fall in love with them again too, because it's your headphones might not have been your problem, that it could have been what was driving your headphones. In addition to the 12 decibels of gain, the DB12 actually also has another 6 decibels of bass boost. And we added that bass boost circuit because most users, particularly in the West, they're just used to hearing things with a little more thump. The problem with a bass boost on most amplifier circuits is it just turns things into mush. It's either a very indiscriminate kind of low shelf EQ that just gets added, or a low shelf boost that gets added, and it tends to cloud the whole mix. The bass boost on the DB12 is really musical, doesn't destroy the rest of the mix, but it adds kind of that low end beef where you want it. It just kind of makes things thump, and it's on a switch, so you can, if you don't want it all the time, you can take it down. One of the two biggest things that are really interesting about the DB12 in talking to users is I've got a friend who he's a YouTuber, he does software reviews, and he has to he takes edits, at the end of the day from an editor who works remotely. But there are times when he's taking edits and he's not where he needs to be in terms of, with sometimes he's watching edits on his phone just to make sure things, timing got right or whatever. But using the DB12, he can actually hear problems that might get missed if he's just listening either with a Bluetooth true wireless product, or even with a smaller headphone. He's like, you can't believe, even watching on my laptop on my couch, I'm able to click in the DB12 and I can actually like pick up on things that I might have missed otherwise. And the DB12 does also come with, some kind of what what I've heard some people are like, this is like a total quality of life thing. We've got the inline controls for volume up, volume down, play, pause, those transport controls as well. So there is like functionality other than just amplification. The other thing that's really great about the DB12 is some people are able to use this and they can actually listen at lower headphone volumes and still get the audio quality that they normally only really feel that they're getting at a higher volume. They're able to run, a bigger pair of headphones at a lower volume throughout the day, but they still feel like I'm still getting all this. I'm not missing anything. A lot of times you got a higher quality headphone and you're running at a low volume. Sometimes it just feels like these need more juice. But then when you step into that more juice territory, it's like, yeah, but now I'm listening louder than I really want to listen, on a extended period of time basis. And the DB12 actually kind of puts things in a completely almost accidental way, but you just don't think about it in terms of, yeah, if I'm listening at a better quality, getting a better full frequency response, I'm actually able to listen quieter, which is really great. What really gets amazing is when you combine the two products. When you put the Bolt and the DB12 together, you are really walking around with a very audiophile setup in terms of mobile, audio listening, and you're getting high fidelity digital analog conversion from the Bolt, very clean, and you're also getting amazing amplification from the DB12, and you're doing it in a package that, you could put both these in your pocket, walk around in your jacket if you want, and you'd have an audiophile setup that even 5 years ago, 10 years ago, certainly you would have needed to be stationary at home for. It's really, really stunning time to be working and living and using this audio. It's really cool.
Well, you can put them in your pocket, but they come with nice pouches too. So
yes. And I should add too, with the Bolt, it is a USB-C product, but for Apple users, we do specify the Apple Lightning to USB camera connection, the original one, and then we include a USB-C to USB-A adapter with the Bolt. So, and we've got some things coming up for iOS users on that Bolt front that'll be that'll kind of change that and make that a lot more convenient. So you're not working with what I refer to as the John Darko adapter chain of death.
Terrific. Can you give us an idea about the pricing on the DB12?
Yes, the DB12, and I'm going to check that again because again, we're these things get different.
And if I'm not mistaken, you have a bundle too.
There's the hi-fi bundle. Currently, the DB12 is at the street price. The MSRP is at $179.99, but you can get it today at $124.99. Our hi-fi bundle, you can get both products for $179.99 today. Normally, it's a $299 US package, but if you were to order it right now, it'd be $179.99.
Terrific. And for more info, is the best place helmaudio.com?
Helmaudio.com is the best place to go. And just in case, I'm going to mention it, with all of our products, with any questions that you have, you could, if you go to helmaudio.com, you're able to contact support directly there. Or if you wanted to email support@helmaudio.com, we work really hard to make sure that our customers are happy worldwide.
Terrific. Chris Heille, thank you for taking the time with us.
Hey, Fred, thanks for having me. Have a good day.